Let's go back to Nisboyer. That's the best thing. So Nisboyer v'chagdama sachai v'shem sham to l'zer anpen yesh no l'sar partzufim shebekumasim shava amalvishim zeh that they have the same height and they cover each other. A kesehu openim bekulam v'all of malvish parts of chachma v'all of malvish parts of bina v'chein kulam al derek zeh v'hapartzufim halano nekroim partzufim de ovi. So these are the partzufim de ovi. The l'chal parts of me'elach partzufim. Now these partzufim, the ovi, each one of them, partzufim yeshnam asaras sfiras pratios. Each one of them has 10 specific spheros, and they crime partzufi de orech, which are called the partzufim of orech. V'loma and RASHASH the mada isa b'shar Hakavanot. Over we have over the b'kol shavua nimshachim mochin the sfira achas. Every week, there is a shefa that's going to one of the spheres. Hakavanot the sfira achad prati is the orech. He's saying that it's going to go into each week it's going to go into a specific part of the orech. The called echad meshevet partzufim CHABAD CHAGTAM the ovim of every one of the partzufim of ovi. Now, so that inside the ovi, each one of the partzufim of the ovi are 10 sefirot. And during the process of and those partzufim the ovi, he says, are CHABAD CHAGTAM. Those are the partzufim in ovi, but each one of them has 10 spheros in it. And we're going to be sending every week the Hakavanot the sfira achad pratis the orech, the call echad meshevet partzufi CHABAD CHAGTAM the ovi. So let me give you an example. He says the dugma. Because in the first week, the hamshacha is the sphere of chachma. Hamshacha he calls spheres chachma pratius. So he says, so therefore we're going to be sending this to all the specific parts. I think he's talking about the CHABAD CHAGTAM, the specific parts of the chachma of each one of them, because each one of them has 10 spheres. So this is going into the chachma. Shall call echad meshevet partzufi CHABAD CHAGTAM de ovi. So that explains that nimsa shebekol yom imechad sfira nimshachim mochin the sheva sfiros. So therefore we say that in every nimsa shebekol yom we're sending a moach nimshachim mochin the sheva sfiros to the 7 sfiros. So in other words, of CHABAD CHAGTAM we're sending it into there. So now he goes on a little side note, and he says, so let's go back over this, and we know this fact, and let's see, but he says it a little differently. He says the first one is going to be a keser. Then it's chachma, bina, and then he says is chagat. Now he used that word for zeranpin, and the last one is nai, and he uses that for malchus. Now I don't have any introduction to this, just hear what he's saying. He's counting them up like this. He said the 5 parsufim over here are called keser, chachma, bina, zer anpin, which is chagat, and nai, which is malchus. We call echad mepartzufich on the rantchi halalu. Now, where do we get this rantchi all of a sudden? The rantchi is the picture on page Shem Mem Ches, where we're seeing the in this particular case. If we look back over there, we're looking at the Akia and the Chavaya. It was the Makif and the Panimi. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. There are 4 of these. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's 4 sets. I'm not sure why 4 sets. Maybe I can see that in the notes when we get to that a little later on. But the first one is Chochma de Chochma. Then going over to the left side is Chochma de Bina. And then the Chochma de Das. And then in it you see, like we said before, you say the Moach and the Tzalam and the Kalim, and then going down ultimately to Malchus. So how this works, we'll try to figure it out. So here we are down below. Let's go to where it says Vihine. Let me see if I can lower this slightly. So he said Vihine. Zer anpin kol chamisha partzufim kolonim keser choch bebina chagat, which is zer anpin, v'nai, which is malchus, v'kol echad by partzufi on the rantchi chalalu. Kol Asaras Sefiros has within it 10 spheres, the Ovi HaNizkarim. So each one of them, those Partsufim, called Echem Partsufi HaNaranchi, although I'm really thrown by the fact that he says Naranchi, but he means the Partsufim, in which I'm going to say my own interpretation, that it means the Oros that are going into the different Kalim. So he says, so Ranchi always refers to, I think, Oros. Kol Asaras spheres, the Ovi HaNizkarim. Called Echem Mechem Kolom Bechasaras Sefiros, the Orach Kenizker, like we said before. V'hinei Shtei Partsufim B'toch HaChamishim Partsufim HaNizkarim. Now this, I really don't know where he's coming from, but it's a fact, he says. He said, Hey Shnei Partsufim B'toch HaMisha Partsufim HaNizkarim. So we just named 5 Partsufim. He had his own way of saying what they're called. Mesukanim Kvar B'techilas Atzilusam. V'heim Partsufim the Nai, which is the Malchus, and the Chagat, the Zeranpin, Hakol, the Zeranpin. Now, I haven't read anything that teaches me that. I don't know, where is this tikkun taking place in the Malchus and the Zeranpin? He says it's already Mesukan, so that means the Zat is Mesukan. So he says, Shekuvar Nimshkul Lechem HaMochim Shalachem, that is, that their Mochim have already come to them. The nefesh, the parts of Malchus HaKolel, so the parts of Malchus, which he called the Nai, he said already is come in to Zeranpin. Ruach, the parts of Zeranpin HaKolel, and then there's a Ruach for the parts of Zeranpin, which is he says that's the Chagat. So according to this, which, like I say, I don't have a background to be able to understand why he's saying this, but it's the fact, he says that the Chagat and the Nai are Mesukan, and what are we working on then? V'avod is saying that b'teres and mitzvos, he the hashlim of the sakim as shloshas apartzufim and nisarim. So what are we doing during this period of time? So since we have the Chagat and the Nai who are already Mesukan, he spent all this time talking about the Chagat Nai and how it is that so I'm so confused about this. So he said, Shehim Partsufi Keser Chochma Bina Hakololim, so that what we have to do is bring in these Partsufim, the Sakin, or to build these Partsufim, to repair these Partsufim, as Shloshas Partsufim and Nisarim. So if the Chagat and the Nai are Mesukin, then what is left over? Well, that would be the Keser Chochma Bina. Shehim Partsufi Keser Chochma Bina Hakololim, L'hamshik lechem b'mochim, and to bring the mochim into them. So look, he says the mochim, let's take it for a fact, he says the mochim that are going to go to the Chagat Nai are already in. So during our period of time here, this is the only introduction I have to this idea. We're bringing in the other 3, the Kochav. Mochim, the Neshama, the parts of Bina HaKolel, the Chai, the parts of Chochma, but the Yechida, the parts of Keser. So he said, "V'meicha sefirot b'chag Shavuos nimshachim mochin l'kol shloshes apartzufim halalu." So during this holiday, and we have to include Shavuos, b'meicha sefirot nimshachim amochim rak lepartzufi chochma abina. So that was that column in the I keep getting these names mixed up, in the Rechovos HaNahar, that you saw that you were going between Chochmah and Bina. Every day was a Chochmah Bina. Oh, excuse me, every week was going to be either Chochmah or Bina. Mm-hmm. So he said, Obimei HaSvir v'nimshach and mochim rak the partzufi Chochmah u'Bina hakolonim. That's all we're doing. We're singing into those partzufi. Now, this is so confusing to me, because we're talking here also about CHABAD CHAGTAM. So what he's saying, the way that I understand it, is in each of the 7 Partsufim of CHABAD CHAGTAM, you're sending, let's say, either Shefa, either to the Chochmah of the Orech of CHABAD CHAGTAM, or to the Bina of Orech of CHABAD CHAGTAM. Or b'chag HaShavuos, the Imshachin Amochin, the parts of Keser HaKolel the Zaso, in the Hol of Shavuos, then that's only on Shavuos do you get the Keser coming in. Now these are the mochim, because it's confusing. The whole thing is confusing for me, because you're dealing not only with mochim, but you're also, which is he's saying, which is in this case is the kachav, but you're also dealing with chasadim and gevuros, so which is not the same thing. So exactly what we're doing or how this works, it needs to be discovered. Lefi Mashin is Boyer Atas, according to what we're learning over here, the Bemech Sefira HaHamshacha, the Shnei Partzufi Chochma Bebina HaKol Nezer Anpin. Nimsa the Mashin is Boyer La'er Shebeshvua Rishon, so it comes out like this. What we explained up above, that in the first week, Nimshach and Amochin the Sfiras Chochma the Orech, so the first week is going into Chochma the Orech, the Partzufi CHABAD CHAGTAM the Ovi, so you're going into the Chochma of each one of those 7 Sfiros. Hamshacha ki kufula, but the Hamshacha is a double one. Behind the Sheva Chochmas, the Orech, the CHABAD CHAGTAM the Ovi, the parts of a Chochma, a Kol the Zah, but the Sheva Chochmas, and also the 7 Chochmas, the Orech, the CHABAD CHAGTAM, the Ovi, the parts of a Bina Kol the Zah. So you're sending both of those. I'm a little confused about that statement, because I thought that each week you have something different going on, but maybe it's each day. Each day you have something different going on. So this way is how the mochin stand down the kol shavua. Now he's going to try to give me a little more help. Shebekol shavua nimshachan amochin the sefira achas the orech. So every week there's going to be one sphere that you're going to be dealing with in orech. The kol sheva partzufi chabad chagtam de ovi. The kol echad mishnei partzufi mechachba bebina hakolon the zer anpin beofen shachacham shacha bekol shavua he the yud dalid partzufi over. There's going to be yud dalid partzufi of ovi. So he says every week you're going to have chachma bina dealt with, and as a result of that, so you can explain how that works. So he says that you're going to wind up with 14 of them, because each one is going to be a 7. So now he's going to explain it. How are we doing time-wise? We'll run out of time. So he when on those days when it's coming from Yasos, the parts of Bina HaKol Dezer Anpin, then it's going to be Bina, because Yasos, either one of them, Yasos or Tavuna, is going to be part of the Bina combo. But when it's coming from there, the parts of Chochma HaKol Dezer Anpin, Kevin Shachaklal Hu, Shachamochan and Nimshachan the parts of Bina HaKol Dezun, Nimshachan the parts of Yasos. Bina, the klalos atzilus, because that's Bina. So therefore, that's what it's going to be. If you look at, and explain more. V'chamochan and nimshachan the partzufi chachma l'kol d'zun nimshachan the partzufi abba v'imere Elohim sheim bechinas chachma the klalos atzilus. So that's the reason why he has a different. In the chart that we saw from the Rechovos Anar, that. That why it changes. It changes because of the origin of where it's coming from. Nachnim. Oh, now let me also say this. Try to get this in now. The yesh bechinas mochin the katas and mochin the godless. Let's not forget that. Hakatas hagodless and mochin the yasos nequoim katnas v'godless rishon. V'hakatas v'hagodless and mochin the abba v'im v'reloin nequosim katan v'godless sheni. So that's a basic fact about that. For Haseder who should be called Laila Rebbemecha Bekal Shavua V'Shvua, so every single night, every single week, Nimshach Bechina Achas O Shtaim Shal Mochim B'Seder Zeh. He says like this. Here we go. Belel Rishon the Kol Shavua, Nimshach Gadlus Rishon the Yasa. So in that chart in the Rechovos Anar, then you actually see that. So he says Nimshach Gadlus Rishon the Yasas. The parts of Bina. Why? Because they're coming from Yasas. HaKol Dezun Shuhu Mekabel Miyasas. Belel Sheni the Kol Shavua Nimshach Gadlus Rishon the Devuna. So there's going to Vuna, the parts of Bina HaKol Dezun, still going to be Bina. Belel Shlishi the Kol Shavua Nimshach Gadlus Sheni the Abba V'im Loyin. It's going to go to the Chochma HaKol Dezun. Belel Revi the Kol Shavua Nimshach Gadlus Sheni the even the parts of Chochma HaKol Dezun. Belel Chamishi the Kol Shavua Nimshach Katnas Risha the Yasas the Savuna the parts of Bina HaKol Dezun. Belelus Vav and Dalad the Kol Shavua on the 6th and the 7th day of every week, because you don't wind up with more going into Chochma. Shavua nimshach gadlu sheni da abba lepartzav chachma hakol of the zone. So we're going to stop here, I think, because I could try a little bit more. Okay, I guess we're done. The Hamshacha takes place during the course of 2 days. B'leil Vav niknas rak al shima de mochin. V'leil Zayin atzmas mochin. This we already know. Okay, that's it for today. This is Baruch Fleischman. You've been listening to the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and we're dealing with a deep secret which I'm trying to find my way through. The concept of CHABAD, CHAGTAM. CHABAD means Chochma Bina Das. CHABAD. CHAGTAM is Chesed Gevura, and Chesed Gevura, Tiferes, and Malchus. So we'll see some more about this as we go along.